Hey there everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, after the wonderful release from XAI, that is Grok 3, we finally have a response from the Anthropic team, that is Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And one of the biggest difference that I can see is the max output tokens. Claude 3.5 Sonnet had 8000 output tokens, whereas 3.7 Sonnet has 128,000 output tokens. This means that we don't have to click continue generation again and again. How will Claude 3.7 Sonnet perform against GPT-4o and Grok 3? And who will be the best model? Let's find it out. So in this video, we'll be comparing reasoning, max, coding. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting off with the reasoning section, this is our first question. You can pause and have a look at this question. The correct answer is east side. Let's see which model gets it right. Okay guys, we do have a response. And let's see. Grok 3 has given us the correct answer, that is East Island appears to rise. Same is true for Claude 3.7 Sonnet, East side, whereas GPT-4o, it gets it wrong guys. It says the West side appears to rise. Now, if we compare the responses from Grok 3 and 3.7 Sonnet, I can say that Grok 3's performance was way better because 3.7 Sonnet says that the West side will remain in same position relative to the water level, whereas Grok 3 correctly says that the West side lowers relative to the original level, so it might even seem to sink slightly, which 3.7 Sonnet failed to pick up. Anyway, since it gave a correct answer, both of these models get 1 point. Let's move on to the next question. Now this is our second question. You can pause and have a look. This question requires logical understanding and the correct option is B and the correct pattern is BAA, which appears 4 times. Let's see which model gets it right. So as you guys can see, Grok says that option D is correct. Claude 3.7 Sonnet says the same, that option D is correct, whereas GPT-4o says option A is correct. But all these are wrong. The correct answer is option B. Now that is a fail guys. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this next question needs spatial reasoning and understanding of the coordinate plane. Let me send this question to the models and then I'll explain it. So as you guys can see, this is the question. I've plotted many points on the coordinate plane. What these models have to do is they have to connect all of these points and understand what is the underlying word. Let's see which model gets it right. Okay, so we do have a response from GPT-4o and it says the word is artelian, which is actually wrong. Moving on to Grok 3, it correctly identifies the word, that is artificial, and same stands true for 3.7 Sonnet. It gets the correct answer, that is artificial. 3.7 Sonnet and Grok 3, they both gain 1 point. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay guys, so this question, no non-thinking model has been able to get it right, but even the smallest of smallest reasoning models get it right. And by smallest, I mean somewhere around O1 mini or something. So the diagrammatic representation of this question is visible to you. You will be having some input grids, and with that you have to predict the output. So let's see if any model is able to get it right. So the correct answer is you will have 1 in the middle and rest all spaces will be 0. And as you can see, Claude 3.7 Sonnet has exactly gave us the opposite answer. Meanwhile, GPT-4o gave us a different response, which is again wrong. Moving on to Grok 3, even Grok 3 gave us a wrong answer. So all 3 models failed this question. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay guys, so this is our seating arrangement question. Let me send this question and then I'll explain this to you. So there are 8 friends, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W and Y. They are sitting around a square table in a particular combination. After that, we completely change this combination and make them sit in a new arrangement. So what we are asking is, comparing the first and the second arrangement, how many persons are there whose position has not changed? So the models have to come up with number of persons and also who are they. So let's see. Okay, so GPT-4o says there are 4 people whose position has not changed. That is wrong. 3.7 Sonnet says there are 2 persons. That is again wrong. And Grok 3 give us a correct answer guys. It says 1 person, but the person that it mentioned is not S, it is actually Q. But anyways, comparatively, I would say Grok is still better. So up until now, we can say that there is a clear head-on competition between Claude 3.7 Sonnet and Grok, with Grok having a slight edge, but GPT-4o seems to be falling behind. Will that change when we move on to the max section? Let's see guys. Starting off with a very simple max question. In a certain non-leap year, January 1 was a Monday. What day of the week was April 1st of the same year? Let's see guys which model gets it right. Let's send this question to all 3 models. Okay, so GPT-4o gets it right. It says that April falls on a Sunday. Moving on, Claude 3.7 Sonnet also give us the correct answer that April 1st falls on a Sunday. But Grok 3 says April 1 falls on a Monday. Let's do one thing for this question. Let's do a retry with all these models. Okay guys, even after retrying we get the same result. GPT-4o saying Sunday, 3.7 Sonnet saying Sunday, and Grok 3 again says it's a Monday. So it's Unfortunately, a fail. Now let's move on to the next question. So this next question is based on geometry and the correct answer is 104. Let's see which model gets it right. Okay, so we have the responses. GPT-4o says the answer is 24, which is wrong. 3.7 Sonnet says it's 16, which is wrong. And Grok 3 says the answer is 55, which is again wrong. The correct answer is 104. So all these models fail. Now let's move on to the next question. Now this next question is also based on geometry and the correct answer is 19.6%. Let's see which model gets it right. Okay guys, so we have drastically different answers. GPT-4o says the answer is 25%, 3.7 Sonnet says it's 31.95%, and Grok 3 says the answer is 0.5%, but the correct answer is 19.5%. All these models fail this question. So now let's move on to the next question. So this is earning questions where you have to do a long calculation. Let's see which model gets it right. So the correct answer is 9,475,000. Let's see. Okay guys, we do have a response. GPT-4o says it's 3,700,000, which is wrong. 3.7 Sonnet says it's 11,315,000, which is again wrong guys. And Grok 3 says it's 9,485,000. Very close to the real answer guys. Although it's a fail, but Grok 3 was very close guys. But as you guys can see, these are actually very simple questions which just need long calculation, but these models were not able to do it. But let me just, test this question on O3 Mini, the smallest model that is available to you on the ChatGPT website, and let me show you. As you guys can see, it thought for around 28 seconds and it gave us the correct answer, 9,475,000. So that is what I mean guys. When it comes to max, you can do basic max with these models, but even if you're going a little bit higher, I would suggest you to use the reasoning models. Even the smallest ones will do the job. So I have even harder max questions, but I don't think it is logical to test them on these models. So with that being said, let's move on to the coding section. Okay guys, so our first prompt is write a snake game in Python using PyQt5. So let's send this question to all the models and let's see what do we get. Okay guys, we do have a response from all three of the models. Let's start with GPT-4o. Let's copy the code and let's paste it. So immediately we don't see any kind of errors. Let's run this. Okay, that looks awesome. And if we hit the wall, game over. Press escape to quit. Let's press escape and that quits the game. Awesome. Now let's move on to Grok 3. Let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's paste the code and let's run it. Okay. R to restart. So we do have a restart button. That is awesome. And I also like the zoomed view of, the snake game. Usually I've seen that the current LLMs give us a very large game where the snake is too small. But I personally like this kind of. Okay, let's see if the collision works. Yes. And when we click R, it restarts. That is awesome. Now let's move on to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's see what it has come up with. So immediately we don't see any kind of errors. Let's run it. Again, awesome. We can say that it is pretty much identical to what Grok 3 gave. Let's see what happens if we collide. Okay, so the game just stucks. So we can say that initially Grok 3 actually had a very good response if we compare out of 3, although all models were able to complete the test. Okay, so let's ask them to actually modify the game. So what they have to do is make the head look like a snake's head and give me the best snake game possible. So let's send this to all the models and let's see what we get. Okay guys, so we do have a response from all three models. Let's see. Starting off with GPT-4o. Let's see what we have got here. Let's paste this. So immediately we don't see any kind of errors. Let's run this. And that looks like a very beautiful head. We are clearly able to distinguish the eyes. That is nice. Other than that, we don't see any major differences. Maybe the foot is now a circle. Let's see guys if the collision works. Yes. And it does. Play again. Yes. And that works as well. Very nice. Now moving on to Grok 3. Let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's copy the code. Let's paste this and let's run. Okay. Although the game is better, but I don't like how the foot and the snake looks. That is just based on my perspective. So, okay. Click R to restart. That works. That is nice. Now let's move on to the next one. That is Claude 3.7 Sonnet. It has given us a pretty long code. Let's see if that works. Let's paste this. Let's run. Okay, that didn't work guys. That is actually a fail. Let's do one thing guys. Let's copy the error. Okay guys, I've pasted the error that Claude 3.7 Sonnet had. But with that, we are making some changes. The question is this time, have two AI snakes compete for the food and the one who is bigger can eat the small snake piece by piece. So the smaller snake has to eat the food and also evade until it itself becomes the bigger one, and this goes on until one snake is completely eaten. So we are sending this prompt to all three of the models. Let's see if they are able to implement this. Okay guys, we do have a response from all three models. Let's start with GPT-4o. Let's see what it comes up with. So immediately we don't see any kind of errors. That is nice. And let's run this. Okay, so the big snake directly ate up the small snake. Let's do one thing. Let's play this again. Now you can see the whole thing happening, and it's very fun to watch actually. You could clearly see that the red snake actually ate up the blue snake. What do you guys think? Which snake will win? Both snakes are continuously growing, guys. Okay, guys, it seems that they will be fighting indefinitely. So let's move on. Let's give it a pass for GPT-4o. Moving on, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's run the code and let's see. So immediately this looks way better than what GPT-4o came up with. We see that we have a triangular head. Okay, so green was completely eaten up, but still the game is going on, which is not what we actually wanted. So now let's move on to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's see if this time it was able to actually at least make the code run. So again, it has given us a very long code. Let's see, guys. Let's copy the code and let's run this. It's 1,000 lines of code, guys. 1,000 lines. It is actually using its long context length. Let's run the code and that doesn't run. We can say that the new 3.7 Sonnet actually has this issue of generating long codes which don't work, because that has happened 2 times. So now let's move on to the next question, guys. The question is very simple. Can you code a dragon using HTML, CSS and JS? Show side view of the dragon and give your best implementation in one single code. Let's see which model gets it right, guys. Okay, so we do have a response from all 3 models. Let's start with GPT-4o. Let's copy the code. Let's run it in online HTML viewer. So this is a dragon according to GPT-4o. Okay, it does look little bit like a dragon with a fireball coming out of its mouth and a tail, but I would say that it's very basic. Moving on, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's open up new HTML online viewer. Let's see. Okay, so it is quite better compared to GPT-4o, and it also has eyes following my cursor. That is a good addition, even though it's not exactly a dragon. It kind of looks like one. Moving on, let's see what Claude 3.7 Sonnet has come up with. That's again a pretty long code, guys. Let's copy the code. Let's open HTML online viewer and let's see. Okay, that looks way awesome, guys. Just have a look. We also have clouds coming. Guys, this is the best implementation I've ever seen. This is absolutely awesome. Just have a look at it. That is a clear win. Clear win for 3.7 Sonnet, guys. Absolutely awesome. Now let's move on to the next question. This one is also quite interesting. The question is, build absolutely the best implementation of Super Mario game in a web page without using any external assets. Let's see which model gets it right. Okay, guys, we do have a response from all 3 models. So let's start with GPT-4o. Let's see what it has come up with. Okay, let's copy and let's paste here. Okay, this looks awesome. So we are not able to climb these upper levels, and other than that, I don't see anything else. I mean, like, there are no enemies, no coins, no way to win. It's kind of a very basic implementation of the game. So moving on, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's open up a new HTML page. Let's paste the code. Okay, so this time we do have an enemy, but nothing much is happening actually. Let's see if we are able to kill the enemy. Okay, so we don't see any kind of, score or coins or any way to win. See, we have this weird issue. So I don't think that's a very good implementation. Moving on to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. As you guys can see, as usual, 3.7 Sonnet generated a lot of code and it was actually not formatted correctly. So what I did is I sent this to O3 Mini and just asked it to format it correctly without making any changes. So let's copy this code from 3.7 Sonnet. Let's start a new HTML page and let's paste it. Okay, that's awesome. Super Mario Bros. Use arrow keys to move and jump. Let's see, guys, will this actually work? Oh my god, guys, just have a look at it. I mean, like, okay, when we jump, we also get the coins from the bricks. Guys, this is absolutely awesome, guys. This is the complete game. As we are, yeah, we are able to kill the enemy as well. Guys, this is absolutely awesome. I mean, what else is remaining? Guys, this is the complete game, guys. I didn't expect this from 3.7 Sonnet. Guys, no model has been able to do this. Up until now, no model. You can take reasoning models as well. Guys, this is absolutely awesome. Yeah, you can get very good games like this from other models, but you have to do multiple iterations. This was able to do in one single prompt, guys. That's absolutely awesome. We have one more life. Game over. Guys, that was absolutely awesome. No competition, guys. There is no competition to Claude 3.7 Sonnet when it comes to front-end development. This was insane. Okay, guys, so the next question is, can you write the most intricate clause simulation in P5.js? Let's see, guys. Let's send this to all 3 models and let's see which one gives us the best response. Okay, guys, so we have a response. Let's start with GPT-4o. So I've opened up P5.js viewer and here we'll be pasting the code. So this is from GPT-4o. Let's see, guys. Okay, so this is the cloth. So we are able to interact with the cloth, but not so much. There are few points where we can interact, but other than that, okay, it looks kind of okay, nothing special. Moving on to Grok 3. Let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. So let's paste the code. and let's run it. Okay, so we have a cloth and I think it is moving towards the sides. I think comparatively it is better than what GPT-4o came up with, but it's weirdly moving here and there. It feels as if it is moving because of the wind. Moving on, let's refresh and let's see what Claude 3.7 Sonnet has come up with. Let's copy the code and let's run it. Okay, wind gust reset. So we don't see anything, guys. Let's run this again. Okay, that didn't run, guys. So comparatively this is a win for Grok 3. Now let's move on to the next question, guys. Okay, guys, so the next question is I want a single React page which has a mascot in the middle and its eyes and expression follow the movement of my cursor as if seeing it. And when I go to click any option or do anything, it makes expressions. So I've already sent this question to the models. So let's start with GPT-4o. Let's copy the code. So I've opened up GPT-4o canvas and here we'll be pasting the code and let's run it. Okay, we do have a response and it looks kind of okay. So the eyes are moving but the pupils are not moving. So let's say click me. Okay, it seems like it is raising one eyebrow. Just have a look, guys. Not a very good implementation, but looks kind of okay. That's nice. So now let's move on. Okay, guys, so let's move on to Grok 3. Let's copy the code. So let's paste this in the React viewer. Let's hit preview. Let's see what we have got here. Okay, that looks very good. So the face is at an angle and this is what we usually see in GitHub Copilot's website. The eyes also have a weird movement. It looks kind of cute, guys. So we have an happy face, a sad face. That is absolutely awesome. It looks way better than what GPT-4o came up with. Moving on, let's see what Claude 3.7 Sonnet came up with. Let's copy the code. Okay, guys. So I've pasted the code. Let's hit preview. Let's see what we have got here. And that looks awesome. Even the way the eyes moves is also funny, guys. Let's see what happens when we click the buttons. Okay, that is sad emotion. That is shocked one. Okay, this also seems shocked and even this one seems shocked. I like the way the eyes and nose are moving. Actually, the mascot feels a bit alive when everything is moving. You can see with the mouth, the eyes and the nose is also moving. So that is absolutely awesome. So comparatively, I would say that Claude 3.7 Sonnet had more expressions and also very good movements actually. So I would say comparatively, 3.7 Sonnet is better in this one. Now let's move on to the next question. So guys, this is our next question. Create a JavaScript animation of falling letters with realistic physics. So let's see guys how these models perform. Starting off with GPT-4o, we can see that it has opened up the canvas. So let's copy the code from here and let's run it in an HTML viewer. So let's paste the code. Okay, we can see that it was not able to fetch the letters, but looking at the cubes animation, it looks awesome. The cubes are rotating, bouncing, and the physics looks awesome. Okay, so the ball went out of the screen, but anyways, that was a good code, but unfortunately it was not able to fetch the letters. Moving on with Grok 3, let's copy what Grok 3 has come up with and open up a new HTML file. Let's paste this. Okay, so we do have the letters animation, but we can see that they are weirdly upright. When they are falling, they should be able to rotate and all of that should happen, but they are weirdly straight, and also the way they are stacking up also doesn't feel human. And just have a look how H is falling. It is just gliding. So I would say that the physics doesn't seem very accurate. Anyways, let's move on with Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's see what Claude 3.7 Sonnet has come up with. Let's open up HTML viewer. Let's paste the code. And that looks awesome, guys. Also, the letters are rotating. Also, the letters are falling realistically, as you can see. It looks absolutely awesome, guys. Okay, so this is a clear win for 3.7 Sonnet, guys. So now let's move on to the next question. Okay guys, so now moving on to the next question. Write a Python for a hollow circle with an opening. So rest of the question you can pause the video and have a read. So let's send this to all three of the models. Let's see what we get. Okay guys, we do have a response from all three models. Let's start with GPT-4o. Let's see what it has come up with. Let's paste the code and let's run it. Okay, so it is asking for an audio file. We'll just mention no audio files will be provided. So let's send this to GPT-4o. Meanwhile, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's paste the code and let's run it. Okay, it says unrecognized argument. So that didn't run, guys. That's a fail. Anyways, since we are doing a retry on GPT-4o, let's give a chance to Grok 3 as well. Let's send this error. Moving on to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's copy the code and so let's paste the code. Immediately we don't see any kind of errors and let's run it, guys. That looks awesome. That was absolutely awesome, guys. So let's just ask it to improve because I think it's absolutely awesome and I should have given a pass, but let's ask it. Improve the game. So let's send this to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Meanwhile, we do have a response from GPT-4o. So I think this time the audio issue should be solved. So let's run this and that looks awesome. Not as fancy as Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but it's kind of okay. Okay guys, I think that it will be moving on this path indefinitely without any changes in path. So that is okay. Not the best one, but it's kind of okay. Meanwhile, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's copy the code and let's paste it. Let's run it. Okay. So as you guys can see, it goes to the end and gets stuck. So that is a fail, guys. Moving on, we have an updated code from Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So let's copy the code and let's see what we have. Let's run it. Okay, physics simulation of bouncing balls. Balls exit to the bottom opening. Okay, so that didn't work out too well. But comparatively, I would give this point to Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but because its game was performing absolutely awesome. But one point to note is that we asked for a single ball at first and then more than two balls, but it starts with more than one ball. It should not be happening. Anyways, comparatively, we can see that 3.7 Sonnet was better in this one, so I'll give a point to 3.7 Sonnet. Moving on to the final question, guys. Okay, guys, so the final one is the Pac Man question. So this prompt is actually a bit advanced version of that question that I am usually using at the end, and this generates a long code. I was not using this because 3.5 Sonnet specifically would always finish up its tokens, that is 8,000 tokens. But now we don't have that issue, so we can use this prompt. Let's try it out, guys. As you can see, the first few lines are, please produce a single fully functioning self-contained Python script using only the Pygame library that implements a complete version of the classic arcade maze game inspired by Pac-Man. So let's send this to all three of the models, then let's see what we get. This prompt I specifically designed for the reasoning models. They do have very high output tokens. Anyways, let's see which model gives us the best response. Okay, guys, we do have a response from all of the models, starting off with GPT-4o. So the maze doesn't look that good. I don't have high hopes, but anyways, let's run it. Okay, the maze indeed looks good. I was wrong. Okay, so the Pac-Man is not eating food, and also the ghosts are not able to move freely. They are just jiggling around. Let's see what happens when we hit one ghost. Okay, so nothing happens. That is a clear fail from GPT-4o. Moving on to Grok 3. Let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. Let's copy the code. Let's paste it. Let's run it. Okay, so the Pac-Man is stuck and there is no way for him to come out. So I do like how the ghosts seem to have eyes, but that is a non-functioning code, guys. Moving on, let's see what Claude 3.7 Sonnet has come up with. Again, a pretty long code actually. Even the maze looks very big. I hope it works. Let's copy the code and let's paste it. Let's run. Okay, so we have two-dimensional stereo mixer error. So this happens usually when the models are not able to get the audio right. So we'll just mention, this is what we're sending to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Get rid of the audio. We don't need audio. Give complete updated code. And to Grok 3 we are sending, update the maze. The Pac-Man is not able to move, and also make complete fixes and improvements in the game. So let's send this to both of the models, and GPT-4o will be sending, the Pac-Man doesn't eat the food. Please drastically improve the game and give me complete. Let's see, guys. Okay, guys, we do have updated response from all the models. Starting off with GPT-4o, let's see if it was able to fix itself, and let's run it. Okay, now the Pac-Man is able to eat, and that is nice. But still, we don't see the ghost interacting with us, and even if I go past them, nothing happens. So that is a fail from GPT-4o. Moving on, let's see what Grok 3 has come up with. I hope it has updated its maze so that the Pac-Man can move. So let's run the code. Okay, and that is an error, guys. So that is a fail from Grok 3 as well. Talking about 3.7 Sonnet, I hope this time the code works without the sound. Let's see, guys. Let's run it. Okay, so the ghosts look real, but I'm not able to move my Pac-Man. It looks awesome, and with few edits, I think it can come up with a very good response. So that's clearly a fail. So none of them were able to solve the Pac-Man question, and that ends the coding section. So now let's talk about some important things. So what can we say? We can clearly see that GPT-4o falls behind and OpenAI needs to replace this model. Talking about reasoning section, we can see that there is a head-to-head between Claude 3.7 Sonnet and Grok 3. But Grok 3 has a slight lead because it got the seating arrangement question partially correct. But these models were also tested on the public dataset of ArcAGI, and I did this on a live stream. Yes, I am doing live streams now, so make sure you subscribe and we can test the models together. So talking about the performance, the previous best was 3.5 Sonnet, and this new model 3.7 Sonnet was slightly ahead of it with an accuracy of 34.3%, showing that this model has very good spatial understanding and logical reasoning. Talking about the max section, we can clearly see that all the models failed miserably. They were only able to solve the first level 1 question, and after that they failed all the questions. So clearly shows that they are not meant to be used for max. Talking about the coding section, we can see a clear winner where GPT-4o and Grok 3 scored 1 points, Claude 3.7 Sonnet scored 5 points, a major lead. Talking about coding, people also use these models on agentic IDEs like Cursor and Windsurf. So I tested 3.7 Sonnet and 3.7 Sonnet thinking on Cursor in a 5-hour long live stream where I used this model to identify some bugs and fix them. What I found was it was better than 3.5 Sonnet, but it had some issues when it comes to instruction following. One of the bugs that I identified is it repeated the same task again and again in a loop. We also saw similar kind of thing when we were testing the model. When in the video you saw when it gave the code for the Super Mario game, it was not formatted and we had to use an external model for that. In the backend, actually I tested a lot and in many cases I saw this issue. Maybe since they have increased the output tokens significantly, that is 15 times, and the model is also I think fine tuned to generate long code, so that is causing some bugs. So in my previous video, just as I said, if you had to blindly pick any model it would be 3.5 sonnet, but that changes now. If you have to blindly pick any model, that will be 3.7 sonnet, and very close call will be Grok 3 for non-coding tasks. But when it comes to coding, there is no alternative. So I hope I was able to cover all the points and make the video enjoyable as well. If you like this video, do consider hitting the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.